It's a dangerous business, Frodo, going out the door. I love movie quotes. In fact, I can have a whole conversation with my wife, Nikki, just responding to her in movie quotes. Yes, I can be that annoying. But this movie quote from Lord of the Rings, "It's a dangerous business, Frodo, walking out the door," has added weight nowadays. Today we're going to discuss going back to the theme parks once they reopen and what that may be like. According to ThemeParkInsider.com, Universal Studios has sent out surveys to guests asking them about potential changes to the park once it reopens. Now, I personally have not received one of these surveys, but there is evidence that others have. Now, before we dive into this survey, let me express my own views, my own personal thoughts on the matter, and I get it. Not everyone is going to agree with my point of view, but feel free to share your own point of view, your own thoughts in the comment section below. Now, I know I have the best subscribers on YouTube, so I really don't have to say this, but when sharing your thoughts, that's okay and that's welcome. But what is not welcome is attacking other people for their opinions. Please don't do that. So, sharing good, attacking bad. I have received some messages from people who work in the parks, specifically in park maintenance, and they have indicated to me that that is the plan for their park. Ramp up mid-May, open in early June. And you can bet that if one park is thinking that way, then other parks are doing so as well. But of course, things are always subject to change. But reopening does not mean the parks are going to operate in the same manner as they did before the shutdown. I feel like despite the pent-up demand to go to a theme park, crowd levels will be smaller to start with. And I have two main reasons for thinking that. The first reason I have for feeling this way is that there is a spectrum of risk taking. Some people may feel that going to the parks too early is a health risk, while others may not feel that way. There is a spectrum of risk, and people's tolerance for risk does vary. Let me give you a couple examples. To many people, just flying on an airplane is a risk. They're too afraid to fly on an airplane because they're just afraid. It's a risk to them. While on the other end of the spectrum, you have people who will jump out of perfectly good airplanes, for skydiving, for fun. So, one end of the spectrum, I ain't getting on that plane. The other end of the spectrum, I'm jumping out of this plane. Personally, I'm on that end of the spectrum that doesn't have a lot of fear. I started this video with a quote. I'm going to give you another quote. Not sure who said it first. It's not from a movie, but I first heard it from Neil deGrasse Tyson, and it is, "A life lived in fear is a life half lived." And that really struck with me. So that's kind of where I am on this spectrum of willing to take chances and take risks and things like that. So there is that natural spectrum of risk taking for different people. Some people will be willing to go to the theme parks. Some people will not. Therefore, I feel like when we first reopen, the crowds will be smaller. The other reason why I feel like the crowds will be smaller to start with is financial. There's a lot of people who are going to have financial hardships because of the shutdown. They're not going to have that extra money, that disposable income for fun stuff. I mean, they're going to be busy trying to catch up on bills and things like that. Therefore, again, I feel like to start with, the crowds will be smaller once the parks reopen. However, the park could counteract that by offering specials and offering special deals to get people into the hotels and into the parks. And now for that survey that Universal Studios sent out. And let me make this clear, this is not written in stone. This is not what they are definitely going to do. They just want to get a feel for how people will react to some of the ideas that are out there, okay? So the survey is going to have a range of how you would feel like very likely or very unlikely, or this would make me feel comfortable, or this would make me, I would have a big issue with this, I would have a problem with this. So it's going to be a variety of answers just so they can get a feel what people would accept and not accept with some of the changes they are considering. So this is not what they're going to do. It's a survey to get a feeling from people who want to go to theme parks. So here we go, on to the survey. Some of these I will let you know my feelings on, others I will not. But let's start with item number 1, which is require all guests to wear face masks. How do you guys feel about that? Then we have item number 2, which is require all team members to wear face masks. I do have a face mask. just in case they do implement that. I have a Hufflepuff. I have a branded face mask, so I think I would be okay with it to begin with, wearing a face mask. Certainly, I'm okay with team members wearing them. Item number 3 is suspend all X-ray conveyors. I guess in the security line, you have the conveyor belts for the to scan your bag and stuff. They would suspend that. Not exactly sure how that relates, but that's one thing they are considering. Another thing is, this is a big one, require all guests to undergo a rapid health test. You would get your results in under 15 minutes. And then only those who test negative for the item they're looking for would be allowed into the park. And I'm not going to use the C word. YouTube is kind of taking a hard stance on use of that, so I don't want to have the video demonetized. So I'm not actually going to use the C word, okay? I think you can figure out what I'm talking about, though. Item number 5 is require all team members to go through a health test. Again, the results would be under 15 minutes, and then only team members that test negative, that are okay, would be allowed to go to work that day. Survey question number 6. Require all guests to have their temperatures taken. I'm okay with that. I think that is far more likely than an actual 15-minute health test. I know you would get the results in under 15 minutes for that one item, but that would be such a bottleneck to get in the park. This temperature thing, I feel like, is very likely to happen, and I think we would all be okay with that. Item number 7, along those same lines, would be to have team members have their temperature taken before they are allowed to work. Item number 8, implement touch-free payment for food, merchandise, and parking. See no problem with that. I'd be okay with having touch-free, all that, Eliminate self-service food options, i.e. the team members would refill your beverage. So like, they have the Coke Freestyles where you go up yourself and you scan your little, your cup and you get your soda. Well, everyone goes up there. Everyone press those buttons. Under this survey question, they would eliminate that. Not quite at the end yet. We're almost there, though. I want to remind you to click that subscribe button and that bell notification button so you'll know when another video is ready for you to view. And now back to the survey. Item number 10, require team members to wipe down seats and vehicles between rides. This is something I could see very likely. This would probably reduce the ride capacity in half, though. They would wipe down a car, a train car, send it on its way, come back, people would get in it, and then other people would be unloaded from the other car, and then when people unload, they wipe it down, they send it away. So it's every other train car, I would believe, or ride would be sanitized. Or if it's like a theater seat, like say they sanitize Despicable Me, people come in for a show, they leave, they sanitize it. So it's going to add a little bit of time into getting on the rides. Item number 11 on this survey, implement social distancing practices throughout the park. 6 feet distance between each other in the lines and the queues, table spacing in restaurants and mobile ordering. I can definitely see the tables in restaurants being further apart now, and I can actually see, the 6-foot rule in queues. Maybe they put down the dots, where you have to stand. Of course, this would make for some very long queues, though, wouldn't it? Item number 12 on the survey. Implement a virtual line waiting system for all or most of the rides. I can totally see this happening. Universal is already big into virtual lines. Studios has what right now? It's got Fast and the Furious and Jimmy Fallon. Their Volcano Bay water park is all virtual lines, So this is something I feel like Universal could implement pretty quickly and with a great amount of success. And I think that would help as far as the social distancing, the 6 feet that you're going to have required waiting in a line, because with the virtual line system, it seems to be less of a crowd. I can totally see that happening. Let's see. Item number 13, limit attendance to the park to 75% of capacity. Item 14, limit attendance to 50% of park capacity. And item 15, limit attendance to 25% of park capacity. To begin with, I can see this. I can see where maybe they want to limit. I think 25 is really low. I could see, I'm good with 50% capacity or 75. I feel like with some of the changes they may make with the queues and the rides anyway, if they're going to sanitize the seats and the vehicles in between rides, the wait time's going to be longer anyway. So if you increase the wait times, but then you decrease the crowd level, that's kind of a push. Not too bad. But I think 25% capacity is way, way, way low. And then item number 16 on this survey, suspend parades and nighttime shows. Personally, I'm okay with missing parades and nighttime shows. I feel like though, like first time visitors or people who come, they don't come to the parks that much, could be less of a park experience for them missing out on the parade and the shows. And then the last thing. Now, like I said, remember I said this is not what they're going to do. They're just trying to get a feel for what people would accept and not accept. Number 17, close indoor attractions and shows. Okay, now Islands of Adventure, they have a number of outdoor rides, but studios, what the heck would you do at studios? I mean, outdoor rides, there's only like 3. Everything is indoors. Your outdoor rides are Rip Ride Rocket, and then just like kid stuff, the Twirl and Hurl in Simpsons, Springfield, that's an outdoor ride. And then you have the Kid Zone, Woody Woodpecker Kid Zone, where you have that little coaster and then the outside play area. That is the only outside stuff at studios. So to have this on the survey, they know what the answer is going to be. There's nothing to do except walk around the park 6 feet apart from each other if they close all the indoor attractions and shows. But that is a question you can answer on this survey. Oh, goodness. So, like I said, this is not what they're going to do. All these items, they're just trying to get a feel for what people will accept and what they won't accept. So there you go, guys. That's the survey, or like surveys that have been sent out to guests. I don't think it's all those are on one survey. I think that's kind of a compilation of multiple surveys that have been sent out. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Which of these is totally acceptable for you guys? Which ones are like totally insane for you guys? Like that closing the indoor attraction things. Yeah, that's crazy. But let me know what you think of some of these items on this survey list. But I think what you're going to see happen with these theme parks, they are going to become experts in crowd management. And I believe they can do it. And I mean, they will be super experts at crowd management. I have total faith in them. I do believe when the theme parks open, you will still have a good experience. I think to begin with, in the beginning, until we get totally back to normal, there will be a little bit of a sacrifice for the guest experiences. But I think overall, the theme parks will be able to manage this. I do, however, think it's going to take longer for you to have that complete park experience. For Universal, for example, I would say in the past, you could have a good time, experience pretty much anything at Universal, the parks there, in about 4 days. You spend a day at Studios, you spend a day at IOA, you spend a day at Volcano Bay, then you have another day just to go back and maybe catch some of the things you missed before. But now with some of these changes where it will take you longer to get through a ride, to get through a queue, things like that, I think maybe instead of 4 days, you might need like 6 days to have like a complete Universal experience. Just my opinion though. One more thing before I go. The last video I did mention Halloween Horror Nights construction, and I do have some evidence to that regard now that they are constructing Halloween Horror Night mazes now. This comes from an IG account, Horror Nights, or let me get this right, Horror Nights ORL fan. This was a picture taken in the parade warehouse where Graveyard Games was last year. But this shows the current construction of a Halloween Horror Nights maze. So, as I've been saying, they're moving forward with Halloween Horror Nights. The construction's going on. I'm just not sure how social distancing would work going through a haunted maze. Are we going to be 6 feet apart in a haunted maze? I'm not sure how that's going to work, but I do have confidence that Halloween Horror Nights will happen this year, pretty much as planned. So there you go, guys. That's the survey. That's what Universal is kind of thinking, wanting to get your feedback on. And you know what? I'm not Universal, but let me know in the comments below what you think of some of those things. And as always, don't miss the magic, don't miss the fun. See you next time.